The sound of boots slamming against the diner floor echoed like thunder. People froze, forks clinking on plates, as two police officers stormed toward the small booth near the window. An elderly black woman sat there, her hands shaking as she clutched her purse. She wore a neat Sunday dress, her gray hair pinned back, her eyes tired but still sharp with dignity. "I told you to move," one of the officers barked, his face twisted with anger. "This booth isn't for people like you." Her voice trembled but remained steady. "I paid for my food. I'm not breaking the law. I'll finish my meal, and then I'll leave." The second officer smirked, as if her calm reply offended him more than if she had shouted. "Don't get smart with us." Before anyone could process what was happening, the first officer grabbed her arm roughly. The diner gasped. She winced in pain, but she did not scream. "Get up," he snapped. When she tried to stand on her own, he shoved her back down into the booth. The old woman's body hit the seat hard. Then, with shocking cruelty, both officers began shoving, yanking, and striking her as if she were a threat. Gasps filled the diner, but no one dared move. "Stop," she cried, her frail voice breaking under the blows. "I've done nothing wrong." The officers ignored her. One twisted her arm behind her back. The other pressed his hand against her chest, forcing her against the table. And then, in the chaos, as a hush of fear wrapped around the room, the woman's trembling hand reached into her purse. Everyone thought she might be looking for money, or maybe just trying to protect herself. But no. With slow, deliberate movement, she pulled out an old cell phone. Her hands shook as she tapped a single number. The phone rang once. Twice. Then a deep male voice answered. "Ma," the voice said. "What's wrong?" Her lips quivered as she whispered into the phone, just loud enough for the officers to hear, "They're hurting me, baby. They don't know who you are." The diner went still. The officers froze for half a second, confusion flickering across their faces. The woman's voice grew stronger, steadier, almost proud now. "I'm calling my son," she said, her eyes locking on the officers who had laid their hands on her. "And his Delta Force." The entire room fell into silence. The officers' grips faltered. Whispers rippled through the diner. And in that moment, before anyone could take their next breath, the door to the diner swung open. Hours earlier, the diner was just another quiet place in town. The kind of spot where farmers came in after church, teenagers shared milkshakes, and tired workers rested their bones after long shifts. The woman had walked in slowly, cane tapping against the tiled floor. Her name was Evelyn Carter, 72 years old. Her body ached from years of arthritis, but her spirit was unbroken. She had raised children through poverty, worked long hours cleaning houses, and endured racism her entire life. But she never bowed her head. That day, she simply wanted a meal. She found a seat near the window, enjoying the sunlight. A waitress approached her kindly, taking her order with a smile. For a brief moment, Evelyn felt peace. Then the peace shattered. The diner owner, a red-faced man with cold eyes, spotted her from across the room. He muttered under his breath as he marched toward the counter. "Why's she sitting there? That booth's for paying customers." "She is a paying customer," the waitress replied nervously. The owner scowled. "Not good enough. People like her bring trouble." Evelyn overheard, but she kept calm. She had lived long enough to know when hatred was aimed at her. Still, she wasn't about to give it power. She unfolded her napkin, straightened her back, and prepared to enjoy her food anyway. But the owner wasn't finished. He picked up the phone behind the counter and made a call. "Yeah," he said gruffly. "Got someone here making a scene. Might need some officers down here." Evelyn's heart sank. She hadn't raised her voice. She hadn't broken any law. Yet she knew what was coming. And just as she feared, within 10 minutes, the door chimed, and 2 officers walked in. Their eyes locked on her instantly. What followed was humiliation. They demanded she leave. They accused her of loitering. She calmly explained she had ordered and paid for her meal. They ignored her words. The tension grew, the officers' tempers rising. The other diners sat frozen, some whispering, some recording on their phones, but no one dared step in. And then came the moment of violence, the rough grabs, the shoves, the blows that sent shockwaves through the small diner. Now, as Evelyn's voice carried through that phone call, the air shifted. Something heavy, dangerous, and unstoppable was on its way. The officers exchanged nervous glances. The diner owner paled, realizing his simple act of cruelty might bring consequences far beyond anything he expected. And at that exact moment, as if the world itself were holding its breath, the door to the diner creaked open. Everyone turned. What they saw made their blood run cold.